Do you know what carpal tunnel syndrome is? Have you ever had carpal tunnel syndrome? Either way, stick around because I'm going to teach you how to heal and or prevent carpal tunnel syndrome from ever happening to you. Check it out. Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in. Chris G here from positivelyprogressing.com. Just want to remind you all that I am a doctor of physiotherapy, so the information that you are getting in this video for carpal tunnel syndrome is researched and is coming from a credible source. So let's jump right into it. What is carpal tunnel syndrome? What is the carpal tunnel? Let's start there. Let's start with the anatomy. Well, the anatomy of the carpal tunnel is that we have this tunnel in our wrist. It's right here in the wrist, and the tunnel is made up of carpal bones, which are your wrist bones, and this ligament called your transverse carpal ligament, and that's the one that goes over top. And what goes through there is a bunch of stuff. There's tendons going through there for your fingers and your thumb, the ones that help us flex, and your median nerve, which is very, very important nerve. It's what gives some of the muscles in your hand the ability to grip, and your thumb to do a lot of the things the thumb does, which is, what sets us apart from everything else, right? Well, how does carpal tunnel syndrome happen? Well, it happens from getting pressure on this part of your wrist, and the pressure or irritation or restriction happening is causing the nerve to get inflamed, and then it's not able to move. Nerves need to be able to move and glide and stretch a little bit, because that's what they do in their function. We are always moving, so nerves and muscles and tendons, they need to be able to move as well. So what are some of the symptoms that you might experience with carpal tunnel syndrome? Well, you may have pain, you may have numbness and tingling, and you may even have weakness. You may have one of these things, you may have all four of these things. It just depends on how it manifests. It's not the same for every individual. But if you are experiencing any of those, and you think you might have carpal tunnel syndrome, I'm going to show you a quick test called the Tinel's test to see if it's something that is caused by the median nerve and you have quote unquote carpal tunnel syndrome. So Tinel's test is, you're going to right about here on your wrist, you see that? Right about there, you're just going to tap it. And if you have any types of shooting sensation into your thumb or into your hand here, it may be painful. You may get just some shooting of numbness or tingling or some electricity shock. That's typically a positive sign that you have something going on there with your median nerve, possibly at your carpal tunnel, that's restricted, or there's too much pressure on there. There might be inflammation in there. So therefore, let's treat it, right? Let's treat it, and then let's prevent it from happening again. So one thing to be aware of to prevent this is, how are you practicing? How are you playing your instrument? Is your wrist neutral? Is it relaxed like this? Or are you bending at your wrist like this too much? If you're sitting at the piano and your wrists are bent like that, if your wrist's bent like this and you're playing at the piano, first of all, that's not an efficient way to practice, and I'm sure there's too much restriction for you to play technically well, especially if you get to a higher level. But second of all, you're really doing a disservice to your body. We need to fix that. First things first, try to pay attention when you're practicing. Are your wrists in neutral position? Are you relaxed when you're practicing? Are you holding any tension anywhere? That is so important to know, because if any of those things are yeses, then you want to make sure those are fixed, and that could be the root cause of your issue. Number 2 is, you can get yourself a wrist splint or brace. This is something you should wear at night. And what that's going to do is, it's going to allow your wrist to stay neutral. It's going to protect you from rolling around on your hand, or we don't know what we do. At least I don't know what I do when I'm sleeping, but I'm all over the place. So if my hand can be in all types of different directions, and that could be irritating it even at night. So at least when we're sleeping, if we can brace the wrist and the thumb, make sure that brace has some kind of thumb wrap as well. I'll put a link below to a good brace that I've used before that you can check out. That'll be another thing that can give you relief at night. So while we're resting, then our body's healing itself. And the third thing is what I'm here for, which is to show you some nerve glides and to also show you a stretch that can also help. So let's jump right into it. I'm going to back up, and next time you see me, I will be towards the back of the room. So let's start with the stretch. The first stretch is, what you're going to do is, you're going to take your left hand. If you're doing it on the other side, you're going to take your right hand. and you're gonna go ahead and pull down. Just pull down on this hard structure up here is your first rib. You're gonna pull down on that, and then you're just gonna side bend away. You're gonna side bend away like that. So that feels really good. I don't have any issues going on right now, but that still feels really good. I'm sure just because I have some tension up here. So we're just pulling down on that first rib and side bending away. That's the first one. So the first nerve glide I'm going to show you is you're going to go ahead and start here. You're going to extend the wrist. You're going to extend the arm, and then you're going to bring your head towards that arm. You're going to side bend your head towards that arm, and then you're just going to come back to that starting position. So that looks like this. Okay? All right. Now, you shouldn't be experiencing any pain with these. If you are experiencing pain, you need to stop before you get to the pain. So if I get pain way out here, then I need to make sure I stop somewhere around here. So instead of going like this and having pain each time, then I'm just going to here. Well, I'm stopping short and then coming back. The second one's a progression of that first one. So we're going to start with our arm up higher, and we're going to start with our wrist neutral again, and we're going to go ahead and bend out like this, go this way, and when we come back, we're actually going to go all the way to the other side with our head, and then go all the way back. So we're moving all this together. All right? And you can even, on the other side, you can even flex your wrist like this, and we're getting a full glide of that nerve. And you can continue to do those throughout the day. I would just say 5 to 10. It's meant to be a glide. It's meant to relieve symptoms. So this last one I'm going to show you is the most intense, and you're not going to do this one until all of your symptoms are pretty much cleared up when you're practicing and playing and when you're doing those first 3. So this one's called a nerve tension. And what we're going to do is similar to how we did it before, but now we're going to tension, meaning that we're going to go opposite directions with our head and our wrist. All right, so you're going to go out like that with your wrist, but notice my head's going the opposite direction. And then we're going to bring it all back in together. And then we're going to tension again and come back. Let's just show you one more time. Here we are. We're tensioning, the wrist is extended, my head's the opposite direction, my arm is fully extended, I'm coming back, I'm putting the wrist neutral, and my head's back to neutral. Now, like I said before, I don't have any issues going on, but I can even feel that one in my wrist. So be careful with the tensioning. You only need a couple of those to get the feel for it, so don't overdo that one. So that is it. That is your guide to preventing and healing carpal tunnel syndrome from a doctor of physiotherapy and a fellow musician. Let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to email me at positivelyprogressing@gmail.com. I look forward to seeing you in the next lesson/healing session. Always positive, always progressing. Thank you so much for tuning in. You guys have a great one. Take care. Bye.